Bitcoin came into existence on January 9th, 2009. In 2010, the price of one Bitcoin fluctuated around 1 cent. As of recording, it is almost at $60,000 a Bitcoin with a market cap of over $1 trillion. Over the past decade, there have been multiple stories of people losing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency that, in hindsight, leaves you wondering what the hell these people were thinking. Our first story is from a man named Stefan Thomas, who lost access to his 7,002 Bitcoins, which, as of November 25th, 2021, at Bitcoin price of 58K, is worth $411 million. Thomas is not the only Bitcoin trader who lost their fortunes, with a rough estimate of 1.8 million Bitcoins lost forever. Thomas realized he lost the password around 10 years ago, when the coins were worth around 130,000. Now he has been left helplessly watching from the sidelines as his missing fortune swells year after year. Stefan Thomas is a smart guy. He's a cryptocurrency expert and served as the chief technology officer at Ripple for 5 years. He was getting paid in crypto when most people had never heard of crypto. He did some work where he was paid 7,002 Bitcoins. The programmer from San Francisco forgot the password which would allow him to unlock a hard drive known as an iron key. It contained the private keys to his digital wallet, which still contains the multi-million-dollar fortune.
It's not like I barely don't remember it. There's no chance of remembering something that complicated from 10 years ago.
You can get an iron key flash drive for $128 on Amazon. And that little sucker is rugged. Thomas has made 8 attempts to unlock the device. He's 0 for 8. 2 more wrong attempts and the iron key wipes all information on it. If that happens, the password to Thomas's digital wallet and his money are lost forever.
Just like lay in bed and come up with a new way to recover it, and then wouldn't work, and I would try another way and it wouldn't work either.
Thomas admitted his devastation at forgetting the password, saying it left him feeling like a complete idiot. And he admitted his forgetfulness would give him sleepless nights as he lay awake racking his brains, reported the New York Times in January. I was absolutely desperate. I couldn't sleep for nights. I even suffered from depression, he explained. But much worse than the loss of the money was my self-reproach. I simply couldn't believe I had lost something so important. I felt like a complete idiot. My self-esteem was in the basement. Thomas revealed that since he opened up about his story, he has been inundated with offers for help and tips on how to stir this memory, while others confided to him they too had forgotten their access codes for their Bitcoin. He said, "There were smart Alex or jokers who asked me, 'Have you tried password?' And I've received all kinds of bizarre offers. Several people with so-called channeling abilities contacted me, and also a prophet from Croatia. On the other hand, there were also some technology experts and data recovery companies who offered me support. The programmer even created his own code to trawl through the physical hard drive to look for his Bitcoin keys, but the process left him at a wit's end. However, there is a sliver of hope, but the process is uncertain and very expensive. You would have to take the USB stick apart and then remove the chip itself layer by layer using a scanning electron microscope. This would allow you to read out the individual flash memory cells, he said. But that's incredibly time-consuming. You need a laboratory and experts, and everything costs a lot of money. And the result is very uncertain. Thomas is managing to come to terms with his loss, saying after a few weeks he realized he didn't have to throw his life away. It must go on. So I went back to doing what I really wanted. And what has always motivated me was to write software that helps people, he said. I threw myself back into programming. When I had a permanent job again, I bought new Bitcoins. I still have them today. He said it was not the losing the money that had the most impact on him. More, it was the hammer blow that smashed into his self-worth. I have never measured my self-worth by my bank balance, only by my work, Thomas added. A similar story out of the UK from James Howells, a British man who accidentally threw out a hard drive with 7,500 Bitcoins on it, worth $440 million. Over the years, he has urged local city officials to let him search for it in a landfill site. James Howells, a 35-year-old IT engineer from Newport, Wales, said he discarded the device while clearing out his home in 2013. He claims he had 2 identical laptop hard drives and that he mistakenly put the one containing the cryptographic private key needed to access and spend his Bitcoins in the trash.
As soon as I put it in the bin at home, I had a second thought, in the back of my mind. You've never thrown a hard drive out before. Why start now? You shouldn't do this sort of thing. A little demon in the back of my head sort of thing. But yeah, I didn't take it out. It stayed in the bin and then came down to the landfill site here with the other bags that I brought.
After all these years, Howells is still confident he'd be able to recover the Bitcoin. Though the external part of the hard drive may be damaged and rusted, he believes the platter inside may still be intact. There's a good chance the platter inside the drive is still intact, he told CNBC. Data recovery experts could then rebuild the drive or read the data directly from the platter. But he needs permission from his local council to search a garbage dump he believes contains the lost hardware. The landfill is not open to the public, and trespassing would be considered a criminal offense. Howells has offered to donate 25% of the haul, worth around $70.8 million, to a COVID relief fund for his home city if he manages to dig up the hard drive. He has also promised to fund the excavation project with the backing of an unnamed hedge fund. But the Newport City Council has so far rejected his requests to look through the landfill, citing environmental and funding concerns. And it doesn't seem like local officials are about to budge anytime soon. As far as I'm aware, they have already rejected the offer, Howells said. Without even having heard our plan of action, it's just a straight up no every time. The council has told Mr. Howells on a number of occasions that excavation is not possible under our licensing permits. Our third story began on August 10, 2010, when a pseudonymous Bitcoin Talk forum user called StoneMan reported that he accidentally lost 8,999 Bitcoin due to a technical mistake. Today, the coins would be worth $520 million. StoneMan explained that he lost 8,999 Bitcoin after shutting down his computer in 2010. This is but one of the reminders that Bitcoin was a far less user-friendly system back in 2010. Since no seed phrases or any other means of restoring access to your wallet existed at the time, BTC addresses were recorded in a single wallet.dat file. If you lost it, due to a drive being misplaced or simply breaking, for example, you lost all your funds. And in this case, a fortune. Describing how he lost his coins, StoneMan explained that he had bought 9,000 BTC on some digital exchange and transferred it to his Bitcoin client. After backing up its wallet.dat, the user sent one coin to his personal BTC address and turned off his computer, unknowingly losing 8,999 BTC by doing so. Because StoneMan's Linux system was launched from a boot CD instead of a hard drive, all its data was lost as soon as the computer was shut down, including the Bitcoin client. The Bitcoin address that was used to transfer the charge still holds 8,999 unspent Bitcoin today, which no one can access. Our fourth story is also from the early days of Bitcoin. On May 22, Hanyecz traded 10,000 Bitcoin for some pizza in what is widely believed to be the first real-world transaction involving Bitcoin. Bitcoin then was worth less than a penny. The pizzas cost about $30, so Hanyecz needed 10,000 Bitcoins to pay for them. Hanyecz, a computer programmer who lives in Florida, told Cooper he made a number of other trades after the pizza. In all, he estimated that he spent 100,000 Bitcoin on a number of items, much of it on pizza. Today, 100,000 Bitcoins would be worth almost $6 billion. These early transactions, however, helped build the project that is Bitcoin, gaining it traction to eventually become a globally recognized form of digital currency. Without early adoption like this, Bitcoin may have never become what it is today. To end off, we will look at the late Matthew Mellon. He was one of the early believers and adopters of cryptocurrencies. He invested heavily in Ripple with $2 million. That investment would be worth around $1 billion at XRP's peak of $3.65. When interviewed back in February by Forbes magazine, Mr. Mellon had this to say about cryptocurrencies. Crypto is scary and dark. It's anti-America. I am pro-America, pro-business, and pro-bank. That's why I went with Ripple. He determined that the product, evident in the Ripple technology, would revolutionize banking from within the financial system. Matthew Mellon would tell Forbes that, "It's $1 billion virtually for free. I actually have earned it because I was the only person who was willing to raise his hand. My family thought I was insane when I knew it was a home run." Mr. Mellon would later die unexpectedly in April this year at the age of 54, leaving a vast amount of that XRP, possibly lost in cold storage. He was attending a drug rehabilitation program in Cancun, Mexico, when his death occurred. His death has since raised questions about the accessibility of the XRP he owned, since he was known to have kept his digital keys in cold storage in other people's names across the United States.